Dave from DNA Reptilia right here. This time, talking head video, we're going to talk about incubators, what I have learned. Welcome to the video. This is our first talking head video, or my first talking head video. Anyways, and this time we are going to, for the first time, we are actually going to talk about incubators and what I have learned from problems that I had and what problems that other people have had that I've been following on YouTube and around our area. DIY incubators are not bad at all if they're done fairly correctly, with some issues solved before you actually have a clutch of eggs in an incubator. Common mistake that I have seen on DIY incubators is that they're not putting the thermostat probe directly on the heat tape or heat cable, depends on how you built yours. Mine, I use heat cable. Most people use heat tape. To what I've seen, there is no real difference in how they heat the incubator. It's mainly where you put the probe. Your controlling probe you want directly on your heat tape and or on the cable, the heat cable. If you have it in the middle of the incubator where the eggs are, your heat cable or tape, I'll just start saying tape right now. Your heat tape will get extremely hot to heat up the center of your incubator where there's air. You'll get a lot of heat loss in between to actually heat up the center of the incubator. Let's say your size will get up to 120 degrees just to heat up the center at 90 degrees. It's not good because when you got your eggs in there, your eggs are actually pushed to the sides of the incubator and they're right next to that 120 degree heat. Now, if you have your controlling probe directly on the heat tape, you set your heat tape to, well, right now I have mine downstairs set to 93 degrees. We'll use that as a baseline. You set the heat tape at 93 degrees. Yes, it's going to take longer to heat the air to 90 degrees because it only gets up to 93. But when your eggs are closer to those heating elements, the heat tape, the inside won't get as hot. You won't have hot flashes. But to help reduce the hot zones right alongside the tape, that's where your fans come into play. Having a good fan is key. If you have a fan that has a high speed, you can use it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to pay attention to the tubs that you have. But first, we'll finish talking about the fans. If you have a high-speed fan, that's great. It'll circulate the air very rapidly, move the air past the heating elements very rapidly, so there won't be a hot spot alongside the egg tubs. It'll actually circulate, move the air all around, make it nice and even. You, like I said, you will have heat loss in between the heating elements and the air. That's just how it works. My incubator is currently 89.4 degrees. Yes, I have a wireless. It's completely wireless. I have a sensor in our Python incubator and a sensor in our Gecko incubator. We have two different this comes with two different sensors. Snake incubator, let's see, is at 89.4, and the Gecko incubator is at 85.6. It shows you a high and a low for each one. That is one thing that you do need. You need to monitor the air. If you have your thermal probe on the tape, but you don't know how warm the air actually is, so you want just a regular thermometer monitoring the air. You have one controlling the heating element, and you have one monitoring the air. It's a two-part, so in order to make it accurate, that's what you're going to have to do. It's the best way to make it accurate. You have to monitor the air in it, and you have to control the heat that you're putting into the air. There's going to be a difference. There always will be. Now back to the fan and the amount of air. If you have a really tall incubator, you are going to need a large fan to move the air from bottom to top. You want to push the air down in, let's say, in the back of the incubator. You want to push it down the back, and you want the air to come up through the front, or you push it down the front and up through the back. Unless you have all your egg boxes pushed aside, you really don't want to push the air down through the center. If you have another thing to help move the air, be one in the back corner of the incubator and one on the front corner of the incubator. You know, kind of, sorry about that, kind of kitty corner from each other. So one's pushing down, one's pushing up. You'll get a nice cyclone of air movement. But the one thing that would actually be bad if you have too much air movement is if your egg boxes are not almost airtight. If you have a lower quality, let's say Sterlite box, the lids don't fit on airtight. They're not made to be airtight on regular Sterlite tubs. There is a little brace about yay tall on all the tubs. I don't know if well, I can show you with this tub. This is a different tub, but you can see these little spots right here. There's little bumps right along here that actually keep air movement able to move through the tub. On most of the Sterlite tubs, the 6-quart tubs, the shoe boxes that we use, have a bigger step than this one. But it allows for air movement. If you have a lot of air movement and your tub is full of water, your incubator is full of water, if you have too much air movement over your eggs, the humidity will not sit long enough over the egg to be able to permeate inside to the embryo. I had that issue on our first clutch. I had high humidity. I had 115% humidity inside the egg tub. I had 105% humidity inside the incubator because I use a couple vessels of open water in the incubator to help balance the humidity out so less condensation happens inside the ink, inside the egg tub. So what I had to do is I had to use press and seal on the top to stop the air from moving into the top of the tub. But I still put 2/8 inch holes, 2/8 of an inch size diameter holes, one in each side of the tub, so that there is some air exchange, but it's just in a small little spot, just in 2 spots, so air isn't able to whistle right through the top, move around, move out, but there is some air exchange. That actually saved our first clutch, putting press and seal on top and allowing some air to come in through the sides. When you first run your incubator, you have to test. It's going to be hard to you'll get your temperatures, you'll get your humidity just right, but on your first clutch, you are better safe than sorry. If you have a normal shoebox, use press and seal. If you don't use press and seal and your eggs become dehydrated within 3 weeks, then you have to get press and seal on them right away. You have too much air movement inside your tub, inside your egg box. You don't want that. It has to be stale air, basically. Almost complete lack of movement of air inside the tub. But you still want some oxygen to get in there. You want some way to monitor It's really nice to be able to, when you're away from the home, people are getting the sensor push. As long as you got the settings on your phone set to notify you when it goes off, excellent. I heard from one person that there's been kind of issues with humidity and sensor pushes, but that was just one instance that I've heard of. I currently don't have a sensor push, but I have something similar coming, which will be in a different video. And if it does what I think it does, it's going to be like $60 cheaper than a sensor push. So, future video. This monitor, since I'm sitting by the computer most of the time, this has alarms. You can set alarms for too high or too low. So if your incubator or room or wherever you have the two sensors goes too high or too low, it will send an audible alarm, which mine hasn't gone off, luckily. That I will put in the link description down below. I think it was only about $28, and the range on it is crazy. I have this upstairs right now, and about 30 feet away in that direction, and down in the basement is where the one sensor is, and the other sensor is just over in the other room, and I can link into both of them fairly easy. Okay, the points we covered were being able to control the heat tape, being able to have a lack of air movement inside the tub, but still having air movement in the incubator, and being able to monitor the air inside the incubator, the air temperature. Those are 4 items that are darn near a must for any incubator, even if it's professionally built or if you DIY it. It doesn't matter. You should have complete control over the heat tape. You don't want it to get too hot. You want be able to control the air movement inside the tub, which is basically you want to eliminate all the air movement. And then you want to have even heating inside the incubator with decent air movement. So you want air movement in the incubator, no air movement in the egg box. Then you want to be able to monitor the air inside the incubator. That controller has 2 sensors, so you can put one on the top, one on the bottom, and see what the difference is between the 2 levels. The more even you can keep it, the better you are. Then you can put your egg boxes anywhere inside the incubator and have similar results without having your eggs up on the top incubating and let's say hatching a little bit faster than normal, or the ones on the bottom taking forever to hatch. These are animals that we're trying to hatch in a controlled environment. If you don't have full control over that environment, things can go one way or the other, and we're trying to not have it go one way or the other. We're trying to be successful breeders. You will have eggs go bad just because either the veins were not as strong, or the animal was weak inside and it wasn't able to survive. Everyone has that issue, but if we can control and have almost complete control over the environment, we should have better success rates at our hatchings. Once again, this is Dave from DNA Reptilia. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for a notification for when we have new videos out, and thanks for stopping by for our first Talking Head video. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I will reply back to as many as I possibly can. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next one.